So have you done it all over Zoom? Have you done any telesales or it's all video?
No, I've closed, like, for the people there's some people in North Carolina that aren't familiar with Zoom. I mean, anywhere. I should have said North Carolina.
Thank you for joining this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. My co-host today, I have Yoel.
What's up, guys?
Okay. We also have Brittany Smart, who's going to be joining us in just a few. She's actually downstairs getting all situated. And then we also have a guest remote from today over in St. Louis, Missouri. We have Trisha Walker or Trisha Brown. What do you prefer? What do you go by?
Brown.
I think you're muted there, Trish. Trisha Brown.
How you doing? Yeah.
All right. So we'll get to you in just a second. So first of all, I wanted to wish you all a happy late birthday.
Thanks, guys. I'm not a big birthday guy, but
I know you're not. So this is why I'm making it awkward for you. How old are you now?
27, a big 27. I'm getting old, but I'm also still young to some people. It's all about perspective.
You're an old soul.
I know, right? I really am. I feel like I'm an old soul, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Yoel is typically the guy that's producing our shows and putting out a lot of the social media stuff that you guys see out there, stuff that I see for the first time once he goes through the editing bay and puts everything together, and like people are like, oh yeah, I saw you in a video. I'm like, you did? And then I'm like, oh yeah, that is me.
That's good.
So it's a little awkward sometimes to see, but it's all about sharing the good news and getting this information out to people and just sharing. If this opportunity is as great as it is for us, as much as we enjoy it, as much opportunity as there is behind it, as much as people can grow, as much as anybody can do this, we want to get it out to as many people as we can, and hope to do it in a genuine way that we have fun with, and just continue to just try to help as many people as we can in the process.
Yeah.
So, interesting development. Obviously you're doing.
Oh, we got to
come on in, Brittany. We just got started anyway. So, but speaking of transitioning, you've been behind the scenes with all the social media stuff, which I've really enjoyed the process because we've been learning how to work together for one, and also learning how to further develop our platform and understand social media a little bit more. But recently you came upon a recent discovery. This is Brittany Smart, by the way, Hall of Fame producer, just joining us today.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Thanks for joining us. But Yoel, going back to you, you've been watching this business for a while because obviously you're producing content for us. You're helping us record some trainings and go through, a lot of different. You see a lot of the business that most people wouldn't see because you're with me on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah. So
what realization have you come upon in your time thinking?
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to put my feet in and get in there and start writing business like everybody else.
So you wanted to write business yourself?
I want to write business myself. Yeah.
Okay. So what compelled you to want to do it? Because we talked about this a long time ago because we actually worked at the same company, the same former company, not the same time. So I never knew him from before. But then when he came on board, we had that commonality between us, and then we just talked about. I just threw it out there. I'm like, you ever think about getting back into selling insurance and going out and running appointments? And he's like, no.
Yeah. And I think obviously I was pretty jaded from our last company, but I think for me, obviously I had other focuses, which is on the media end and trying to master my craft on that end. But, I think as time goes on and as you start to, reevaluate your life, I think we all get to that point where we're just like, okay, what things have changed, what things have stayed the same. And, I think right now I'm at a place where, I think it'd be really cool to hop in and, see what I can do. We got a lot of people killing it, a lot of people, putting in work. So I want to see what I can do. And I want to see what, and I think if anything, it's going to add more value in the sense of I'm going to get more perspective and, do my job even better. So,
right. Well, I mean, obviously you've been exposed to a lot of stuff because you've met a lot of people with me on the road. You've met a lot of agents when they come in.
Yeah.
You've also edited a lot of content, so you see people talking about it in a very genuine way. Some of them think it's great. Some think it's easy. Some of them
Yeah.
really enjoy what they do. Sometimes people complain.
Yeah.
So you see both sides of it. So
There's commonalities with everything,
Yeah.
with anything in life. I mean, I think like even going back to our old company, like a lot of the times if you couldn't do it, it was, this is adding additional pressure on myself to perform once I do become an agent, which is okay. I'm okay with that. But, a lot of the people that couldn't perform were, people that were maybe not as disciplined, what also once you start to make a little bit of money, I can speak from personal experience, you have a big sale and then you're like, and then you relax but then guess what, the next day comes and then you've burnt through that money, or maybe you paid bills and now you're kind of back to where you started, right?
No.
So I think like keeping your composure, being disciplined, making sure that even if you do perform well, that you don't get too comfortable. I think that that's super important. But there's so many different characteristics or commonalities from the old company, from different industries, from what I'm doing right now, where it's like, if you don't have that kind of like entrepreneurial mentality, if you don't have that ability to take risks, then it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be very difficult. And that's coming from personal experience, and that's coming from also just observing it from the outside.
Yeah, well, speaking of commonalities, and Brittany, you could probably speak to this too. I mean, there are some commonalities in terms of we're in sales, we deal with people, of all different types, whether sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're upset, sometimes they're just there. But then now there's a difference, because you've been exposed to enough of this, Yoel, where you've seen what FFL has to offer versus other IMOs.
Oh, 100%. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I think like it's crazy. Like, it's funny, the people that complain. I mean, look, I'm one of those people. I observe, and I'm so glad I have the perspective I have, because obviously I'm not in it, but I have kind of the outs. I'm just listening. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, where did this person start? Where did this? Okay, how long? Okay, cool. I take it in, and I've realized like a lot of the times the people that complain are people that have like not very much like outside of FFL insurance experience. Would you guys agree? Maybe
People that don't have
people that complain a lot of the times don't know how good this opportunity is. Relative to, because for me, I have personal experience, relative to other IMOs, and I can tell you like point blank, like this, how this is structured, how this is much better for you and for your soul.
So you see the opportunity.
I see the opportunity here 100%. Like it's night and day.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily people that don't have experience coming into, because we have people that come from our old company that sometimes they'll say like, oh, they used to do it this way, and then they say like, oh, I'm so used to it doing things this way. Where in reality, it's like, well, I mean, if it was working that great, wouldn't you still be there?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's going to be like, oh, if you worked at a previous company and you come over here, it's going to be perfect. I don't think that's, or you're going to automatically do well. No. I just think you have a different outlook on it. If you just compare those two businesses, and if you actually worked at that previous company and, maybe performed well, and then come over here and actually adopt the FFL system, then I think you can objectively observe the two different IMOs, and you will understand and realize that how FFL is doing it is really smart.
Right. Yeah. Not even to throw shade on the old company. I mean, it's different. It's a very different business model. So I think your exposure to the business up to this point, I mean, you've seen a lot of stuff, because you sat in the edit bay and just going over the stuff over and over. I mean, sometimes when we record some trainings, he'll come back and he's like, I think I know how to sell this already. Yeah. And like he hasn't been in the field yet. So I mean, that's how simple things can be, but things could also be very complex if you choose to let it build up this whole thing in your head.
Of course.
So yeah,
because practical experience is always going to be, the best. Like, I mean, even going back to the other IMO, like I remember like wanting to know everything, the product, like because I just had that type of like, I need to know everything, because if they ask, I don't want to look stupid. You know what I mean? Like you want to know everything in case they ask something, and you're just like, you want to avoid that at all costs, right? But then you just gain experience, and you just, have, 2 appointments, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40. And then you start to get going on it. It's not the how much, it's how much, how many reps you have, how many different, meetings you have, how many different appointments you have. That's what really does it. I mean, I could know all the product and still.
So you still know it's all about activity.
Of course.
Okay. Well, so you're up for the challenge?
Yeah, I think I am. I'm excited. I'm excited for the challenge. I want to see what I can do, even if I fail, if I get humbled, if I do really well, if I don't do well. I'm excited to see what I can do.
Yeah. So I mean, don't worry, he's still gonna be with us for the social media stuff, at least for the foreseeable future, because that's one thing he brought it up. He wanted to do it part-time to sell, and I'm like, cool. I mean, if for me, I'm always about whatever people want to pursue and for themselves to help them achieve their goals, their dreams, whatever it is. I'm in support of that. So I'm happy for you.
Yep.
All right. So Brittany, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.
So I mean, one of the things that you all talked about when he said he thinks it's the right time for him to dive into this is a new virtual platform that we've recently launched. Now, obviously, it's not the first anyone's ever done virtual. People have been doing it for a little bit, but we haven't really promoted it very much for different reasons. But then you started diving into the virtual and you've had some success. Okay.
Yeah. Most of my leads are actually out of state.
Okay.
So the good majority of my business lately has been in other states. So, and it's all been over the phone or through Zoom.
Okay. And you used to do everything face to face.
Yeah.
Because I remember all the cool pictures of selfies with the clients and
I was a
everything.
big proponent of going face to face, and I thought Zoom was kind of like BS. But
well, where we came from, it was all face to face.
yeah.
And then how we started here was all face to face.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your mindset when they started talking about the virtual? How and when you started changing over to it, how was the experience?
I think that I had tried because I was in Pennsylvania and New Jersey last year. So with the pandemic and everything, they had actually shut the whole state of Pennsylvania. They shut down and banned going face to face.
Right.
And so, I just went to New Jersey, but other people like Jonathan Porcina, who's been doing this over Zoom at a high level for
Super
a
high
while
level.
now. He was doing it. He, has been doing it since then at a high level. So I had tried it a couple times and I didn't prepare for the appointment well, which
Explain. What do you mean?
for example, so when you are dialing, and you're setting appointments for Zoom, like what Ginger and Vivian said, about 30% is about your show ratio.
Yeah.
I think that can be actually true versus face to face. I'm like 70 or 80%. If you're dialing your own appointments and you're creating good rapport with people,
right,
you shouldn't have a lot of no-shows. So that right there, I was like, okay, so I want to make sure that if I am going to be adding this platform in as well as going face to face, that, I have good quality appointments, because I'm paying $97 for a lead,
Right.
So one of the things that I've done is I text them my business card, my state license, the carrier worksheet, and also the form that they filled out, whatever it might be. And I send that to their phone. I get their email. I send it to their email as well. So they get it in both places. I let them know that 10 minutes before our call, but 10 minutes before we're scheduled, I'm going to call them to let them know, make sure we're still going to hop on everything. Right. So that's been working really well. My show ratio has been above 50% over Zoom.
Okay.
And then, so I'm also doing mortgage. I've also closed quite a few deals just over doing mortgage protection over the phone.
Okay.
Those honestly, though, those are kind of those are really price driven though. So a lot of times they just want the best rate. Luckily, they've been in good health. So it has been a few NLGs, because they're, when you do things over the phone, they're really price driven. They're people that call in, they see something on the television, they want $250,000 for $50 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes we can give them that, but it's not a fit for everybody. So you have to be able to set that up properly. But going back to why I didn't do well last year over Zoom. I mean, I tried it a couple times, but in my head, I didn't think I was going to do well. And so of course I didn't, but I wasn't pre-planning the appointments, as well as I wasn't setting the expectations. I really wasn't sending them anything. I was just saying, hey, we're going to book a Zoom appointment tomorrow. I'll see you at 2:00. Right. And then they wouldn't show up. And then, sharing your screen is important. Using the insurance toolkit is also important. Have you guys
What's the insurance toolkit?
pulled that up much? Okay, so I'm surprised you guys. Okay, so basically it's really cool. Our group, my team, we did a training on it, and it's been working really well for virtual because you can put in the client. So there's different categories. There's final expense, Medicare supplement, and then there's term. So you could put in their age, their health, how much they weigh, all their prescription medications, how much coverage you're looking for. You can run side-by-side comparisons as well, and it populates all the carriers we work with. So like it specifically pulls FFL carriers because we have a deal with them.
Oh, is it the site that Andrew developed?
I don't know. Eric Hamadi posted it.
Okay.
And then Daryl started using it to put the team on it. But it's really good, especially for a new agent. Because if you get somebody that's like maybe schizophrenic, or they have lupus, or they're taking gabapentin, and obviously, veterans we know that's generally for neuropathy, but new agents may not know, you can put those in there and it will pull up. Of course, it's not going to pull up Americo, but it's going to pull up all the companies that will take those medications. And then it shows on the screen, it shows what the pricing is for both. So in home, this could work really well for agents as well, for when you get the objection like, hey, this is cool, but I want to shop around. It's like, perfect, Albert, let's shop, because it shows all of the carriers, even carriers you might not even be contracted with, like Phoenix or some of the other ones, but you literally it's really legit, and they can see you're not just pulling up rates out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's super legit.
Okay.
So using certain tools like that. But going back to Zoom, sharing your screen is big. And I pretty much just walk through my same process that I'm doing in home, doing mortgage, final expense, whatever it is, internet leads. I do the exact same thing over Zoom. It's no different.
Got it. So have you done it all over Zoom? Have you done any telesales, or it's all video?
No. I've closed, like, for the people, there's some people in North Carolina that aren't familiar with Zoom. Anywhere. I should have said North Carolina.
Don't estrange the entire state.
It's just because like certain areas, but I had somebody who's 77. He's so sweet. Prosperity. We did I closed 3,700 with him, Prosperity. Yeah. And the cool thing about, he was 77, knows how to use Zoom. He signed the everything perfectly. But when I called him and I said, okay, so here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you my state license and all that. He's like, no, you already sent it to me. We're good. He goes, but he just went right into his prescription medications. He's like, I don't think you can get me approved because I've tried, and you know how that goes. Right. So I think if you just cover all your bases, but you do a little bit more and kind of over explain, you kind of like overly make somebody feel comfortable because they don't know you. That's like super important. And then you're not going to get the weird thing like, I'm not really comfortable. I don't want to give this person my bank information, or not really going to give you that information because.
Do you think you could over explain? Because that's what because I remember, was it last week or the week before, John said he was like too informational, which is why maybe on the phone he didn't do as well. What do you think about that?
I'm not informational. I'm more needs based. So like I'm pretty direct. I don't really think I know that much information to give. John knows a lot of information.
Actually, yeah.
He's
he
like
might
an
be like an
encyclopedia.
extreme example. He likes to
any underwriting thing. I still like, Johnny, hey, how you doing? I need to know this.
Well, you ask the right questions. It's probably you push the right buttons, ask the right questions.
Because as much as like I want to help them and like I have other things to do, they do too. They don't want to talk to me for 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Brandon came on, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? He came on, did his 2
weeks ago,
his phone script and his telesales. It was great.
That was good.
Very, very simple. Laid everything out, just stuck to it, and that's what it is.
I think it's really not that complicated. I think live transfers is it's obviously a little bit different. I have guys that have come from a telesales background that are now at FFL, and they're doing well. But from learning from them, at their old company, they did everything inbound. So they just closed, but that's a different kind of close because again, they're very price driven. And if they see something on TV, they want that exact thing. If you can't provide it, it could go left really quickly,
right.
So also like that's a another skill that I think that people can easily learn, but you need to learn.
Yeah, so let's talk
different.
about that a little bit, because we've been here for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we started, I mean, a lot has changed with the company.
Right.
We had a very anti-virtual, anti-telesales stance. And, there were always a few people that were doing it, but overall, it didn't seem like a good idea because, number one, we were still growing as a company. So I think why change things up if it's working? But, you've always saw the value of adding in, not replacing face-to-face, but adding in virtual sales,
Mm-hmm.
adding in telesales. And, you and I we had a few conversations. You mentioned that before. So what was your initial impressions like when they said, all right, let's go all in with this thing?
I was like, thank goodness, because some of my guys have been doing stuff,
Right.
in secret. I'm just like, don't tell anybody, right? But it
Right.
was it was working so well for them, and I think the thing is like, if something's working really well for you and it's ethical and it's moral and you're helping the client or hurting the client, like keep doing that. You know
Right.
what I mean? But I was like, also, people I work with, John and Claudia, they do a lot of, before coming to
Yeah.
FFL, they do all of their business over the phone. So they were like hard pressing me, like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? I'm like,
Right.
just, it will get there. Right. But like, just, so I'm super happy now. I feel like we can accommodate anybody now. It gives us a huge opportunity to hire people that are maybe single moms, people that have some sort of physical disability, maybe people that don't have a car, but they're just really good at sales.
Right.
Like collections people are really good on the phone.
They gotta be.
And this gives them an opportunity. Other people, this gives them opportunity. And
maybe people that because of COVID don't want to see people.
Mhm.
Like very common right now. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be in front of people. I don't want to go in people's homes. I don't want to do this, that, So, yeah.
Yeah.
good.
So the thing is, we just didn't know if it worked or not. Obviously it does, because people have had great results off of this so far.
Yeah.
You've had some good results off of it. I remember the first day you did it, you started sharing the results and you're like, it was easy.
This is so
Right.
easy.
Yeah. But I think the biggest reason why and I guess this is the part that people don't talk enough about. People think like, oh, it's, if I go virtual, I can do a lot of telesales. The thing is, I don't have to drive anywhere. I can do this in my PJs. I don't have to work as hard, don't have to work as much. Where in reality, it's not that you don't have to work as hard. Like you're always going to get what you're willing to put into this thing. So the things I think one of the aspects, and you've talked about working a $97 lead. I think a lot of people just think like, okay, cool. I don't have to leave my house. Like it's going to be easy. I don't need that many more leads. You actually probably need more leads to do it this way, right?
I do, because normally if I'm like booking face to face, or just even period, it's weird trying to call, because the majority of my leads are on the East Coast. So I call at earlier times, then obviously I would call here, start at like 5:30 or whatever.
Right.
And then end earlier to get people on Zoom or on the phones and not call them too late. But you do need more leads. You need more leads. And if your lead flow is slow, you're going to be stuck literally running like 2 to 3 appointments a day.
Has your show ratio gone down a little bit from going face to face versus now with virtual?
I don't think I have a big enough sample size yet, because it hasn't. And I know I will get kicked in the teeth eventually, but it hasn't yet.
Okay.
But I have a small sample size, know.
So I just want to caution everyone, if you're going to go full virtual, full telesales, get more leads than you're used to, because you're going to have more no-shows. There's more unpredictability. The thing is, they've talked about in several training calls, going face to face. The thing is, sometimes you show up to the house, people are like, oh, I was actually about to leave because I forgot we had this appointment, and you actually caught them, so you were able to do the presentation. But with a Zoom call, they're just not there. They're just not there. You're just sitting in front of that laptop by yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's important that, I think Ginger said this, if you get a no-show, just start calling. Like, that's not your cue to like go to the store, go to the gym, or go to the,
That's not
whatever.
like free time.
Right. It's just like pick up, you're still on the clock, pick up the phone and start dialing and keep making appointments.
Yeah. And it's not your cue to take the time off. I mean, you can, because this is your business, but if you want to treat this like a real business, if you really care about making that money, if you're really committed to making that money, then you got to keep working, because the thing is, you're going to have to make up for it in volume, make up for it in numbers, if you're not going face to face.
Yeah.
That's
And
just
you
reality.
inevitably regret it. Like you inevitably regret not working hard. I think we've all been there and done
Mhm.
that, and you regret it, so just take care of it. And then when you're off, be off and enjoy that time and like truly be off.
I'm curious,
Thanks.
regret it in what way? I mean, I agree with you, but I just want to hear your perspective.
I'm just saying, like, let's say, like, you're trying to hit a goal for the month, right? And you're close, and then you decide just not to go as hard, right? Because you're like, I'm there, or whatever the situation is, right? So you're gonna have to make that up somewhere down the line, and then you're just putting yourself under more unnecessary stress and anguish. And nobody wants to buy insurance from a desperate person.
Right. Well, aside from falling behind, I think also all three of us were competitive people.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest pain when you let up, when you say like, I'm take the time off. Oh, I'm good. I made this money. We start seeing other people around you that you are competitive with, that you should at least be on the same level. If you don't feel like you should be higher.
Yeah.
And that's just the competitor in us. When you see them outperforming you, you see them growing, you see their numbers, and then you're like, I shouldn't have took that time off.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing is, you can't get that time back. But the thing is, it's a long race. So you can always get back into it. Like you must be watching, you have a lot of friends in this agency. You watching them put up their numbers. You watch them make that money.
I'm like, John's an idiot. If he can do it, I can. Where's he at? Is he listening? I'm kidding. No. I think no, yeah. I mean, I'm like seeing like people that I'm friends with, people that I'm not, just how many people are doing well. And I'm like, oh, like, man, like I can really, especially like, I think the biggest thing has been the like us shifting to virtual, because then it just became like way more practical, like just with other things going on with me. So yeah, no, I'm excited. And I think, yeah, I do. I agree.
Okay. Have you had any agents on your team that have had a rough transition going into virtual or telesales that have maybe jumped into it and weren't fully ready for it? Or
I'll just use not really, because they haven't really dove into it.
Okay.
John and Claudia have done really well at like transitioning. They're doing both face to face, and they're local, so they're doing both. But I think the majority of my team is still mainly doing face to face, and then I have just a group that does just strictly like telesales.
Got it. Yeah, I just asked a question because I'm trying to give a accurate description to people out there thinking about it, or people that want to get into that. Because then John was on here very blunt. He told us he bought a bunch of leads when the pandemic first happened. Bought a bunch of leads in Indiana and bombed them. He got
Over the
nothing out of it.
phone,
Over the
like
phone.
trying to sell them.
Yeah, because he was too informational, as
Yeah, that's what I
Yoel
was saying.
brought up. But so I mean, the thing is, and he knows how to sell. He knows how to make money. But the thing is, sometimes you got to switch into a different mindset. It's not an easy transition for everyone.
And also, like, I think like the doing it online and at home, like I enjoy being among, like, seeing people. I enjoy
too.
talking to people. Like Zoom is not the same as face to face as far as like human interaction.
Right.
So I think like if like the nice thing is we, we're at the office twice a week, so we get that like social human interaction, aspect of it. But if you're just strictly like by yourself from, so just with your kids or just at home from like Monday to Friday, that can be kind of dark, like, to be honest. So maybe face to face is probably going to be better for your mental health. There's other variables that play. So you just gotta assess your personal goals and what you value and what you need to do.
Right.
I would say too, if whatever you're doing is working, like keep doing that. Don't change a thing. If you're doing 30, 40, 50K a month, like keep doing that. But also what you could do is just add and incorporate it on one day and just try it out. Like I think Sunday might be a good day to run some Zoom appointments, right? Or if like people take a day off and you're just curious, book some appointments and, add it in slowly, but don't like turn your world upside down to just start running Zoom and things over the phone when you're already doing stuff that works.
Yeah. I think a few weeks ago, Marlon was saying he was going face to face for everything, and then partied a little too hard one night, couldn't get up the next morning, felt a little hungover. Then he had to dive into virtual and did well. So yeah, I just asked that question because I know for a lot of people, the transition has been pretty smooth. People put thought into it. They've released all these different trainings. If you guys need training, go to fflvirtualsales.com.
Yep.
Right. So that's a great platform with scripts, training videos, a bunch of other stuff. But I've asked a few people just to try to get their feedback. I'm like, has it been tough? I'm expecting some people to be like, yeah, it took me a little bit to get into it, or I bombed the first few ones. But so far, everyone I've asked have been like, no, it's been pretty easy.
I have had when I think about it, I have had a few agents who have booked appointments and they're like, yeah, they no-showed me, and they were a little discouraged, and so I was like, just it's a numbers game, just like it is, when you go see people face to face. But if you're not doing that well doing face to face, I don't think virtual and telesales is just going to be a game changer.
Right.
Like either, you still have to put in the work and
Have you
time on the phones.
Have you thought of like, because Brandon, I think, was talking about like just doing the that initial contact, doing the appointment right then and there. Do you do that at all or no?
Sometimes, but I don't like to do that because then it throws off the rest of what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to dial. I know some people book Zoom appointments for later in the day. So like if I'm dialing in the morning, hey, are you available this afternoon? What time is today, afternoon or evening? Are you available for about 30 minutes? I asked them to give me about 30 minutes for virtual.
It's credibility too. Like, hey, I got stuff to do. Like, I got other people to help.
But personally, if I still like to have dial days. So I usually just book for the next day. That I don't know if that's wrong, but that's been working for me.
That's wrong. That's wrong. I decided today, just now,
with all your
experience at FFL, I decided it's wrong. No.
Well, however you guys want to set it up. The thing is, there's more than one way of doing things. Like Brittany and I, we've worked together for quite a while now, right?
Many years.
And we don't agree on everything, and which is perfectly fine. The thing is, we all have the ability to be able to run our business the way that we see fit. But the thing is, if you care that much about your business, put thought into every little part of it. Just like you don't need to know everything for you to go out and sell and make money. We can all do that. But the thing is, if you want your business to grow, you want it to be sustainable, you want it to be scalable, you got to put a lot of thought and time into this thing. So think about every aspect. And the thing is, if you screw up, that's the best platform for you to learn off of, because then you have something to base your experience on now. So, and that feeling of screwing up for a lot of people, I mean, like we've brushed it off now, like it's part of life. It's not a big deal. But I remember when I wasn't as conditioned to making mistakes and failure, or I would let that cripple me. And now I'm kind of like, cool, I'm glad it happened, because number one, I'm probably never talk to this person again. So it's not a big deal. But at least now I know, okay, that person reacted this way because I said this or I did that. So maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. So like, let me see if I can apply that to the future.
Yeah, it's facts. Yeah.
You need that emotional component for you to really affect a change, or really genuinely internalize it and recognize it's me. I can fix it.
Yeah.
So
it's just a better, like, psychologically healthy way to look at life, like being like, I can control my environment, rather than being like, oh, it's just not meant for me, I can't do it, I failed. Man, that's stressful. Like,
right.
Just you're a victim to everything going on around you.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys sharing. Stick around and continue. You can chime in if we and crack wise. So we got, speaking of face to face, we got Trisha Brown here with us. Ooh. The queen of face to face, because she's definitely someone that's a larger than life personality. I mean,
angel.
She's an angel.
Hi, guys.
And then like I always have a great day whenever I talk to Trisha, because she's just so positive and upbeat, and you can't help but feel that energy is like contagious.
Absolutely.
Like I'm never down to begin with, but then after I talk to Trisha, I'm like, I'm up at another level. So tell us what's happening with you, Trisha.
Well, first, happy birthday, Yoel.
Thanks.
And you are still kind of a baby until you hit 29 to my box.
Okay, cool.
But when you hit 29, you'll start celebrating 29 over and over and over again. That's what women do. Secondly, hello, Queen, Miss Beautiful. Hi. You every time I have to tune in when I didn't even know you were going to be here, but you bring the education. Right. Every single time. I cannot tell you how happy I was to hear that about the phone sales and Zoom, because Missouri, between Thanksgiving and like the first week of February, we could have 2 weeks of ice storms, or, and then what happens, I know this, and this isn't negative, it just, it changes everything, because if you can't get out and sell, you can't get out and sell. So to have this component now, is so super duper duper big for everybody, especially Midwesterners like us, because we have so many variants in the weather, and so I actually had a couple questions for her. In regards to, you doing the Zoom with final expense, the elderly, at times, the people that are, are you finding, one, are you buying a certain lead? And two, is there a certain script or something you've watched specifically that can help my group and anybody else that's, needing this right now? So we can get the ball and start running with it, because it's definitely on my radar to implement right away.
Well, first, I would like to say you are beautiful and you are glowing. You're literally in the sunlight, and you're so positive. Everything Albert said was so true. But so, I mean, honestly, I'm mostly running mortgage protection, direct mail, out of the CRM and brand new data, brand new mortgage. So I'm not going to say that I'm running internet leads over Zoom. Do I think you could do it? Yes. If you're in an area that's like, I would say middle income, that's like can pull up a computer and get on the internet and know how to use Zoom, definitely could work. As far as phone script, my phone script is exactly the same. But what I'm saying, Trisha, is I'm saying, so, hey, Alan, I'm actually in California right now. They've had me covering Wake County for a year now, but I actually have recently transitioned. I'm here now for a while. So I usually do this in person, but are you familiar with Zoom? So because I know, like, I'm not even giving them that option. I'm just asking, are you familiar with Zoom? So if they say yes, I'm like, okay, perfect. I need about 30 minutes to go over this information with you and your husband tomorrow. Just to see if you guys qualify. If it's something that doesn't make sense for you guys anymore, we'll go ahead and remove it from the file. So if they say no, I'm not familiar with Zoom, I do a phone call with them. So, like, I don't know if that's helpful or not. My phone script's pretty much the same. The only thing I switch is the N. I don't give them the, hey, they have me out there tomorrow. What time are you guys going to be available? I'm just going straight for, are you familiar with Zoom?
I love that. And you always take authority over, you know what I mean? And that exchange of words that, I don't know if everybody, I'm sure most of you caught that, but you're just eliminating any type of non-urgency per se. Like you're right on the money. And that's something that I hope I can teach. I feel like I'm that in the house, but I am intimidated, but that won't stop me from getting on the phone full-fledged.
People are going to love you over Zoom because if, they love you in person because your personality, you're warm, you know what I mean? You're a big personality. So over Zoom, they're just going to be like so entertained. You're going to have them eating out of the palm of your hand. I think that what's helped me with booking those appointments is that saying, hey, Trisha, so they used to have me going face to face, but obviously right now, because of the pandemic and a lot of people are maybe less, inclined to want to do this face to face, they actually gave us the option now of just doing things for your safety and your convenience to do it over video conference, and I'm in California right now, you're in Missouri. So are you familiar with Zoom?
So what if a senior said, and not limited to North Carolina, but what if a senior just said, I don't have a computer, or I don't know how Zoom works. Is that the internet?
Yeah. So I would, in that case, I'll try to book the appointment and send one of my agents there. I do that all the time. To run this appointment. If not, then I will just do a phone call with them.
Okay. And that hasn't come up for you yet.
No, it has actually.
Okay.
It has.
But you sent an agent out there?
I've done both. Send an agent, and then I also have just transitioned to doing it over the phone.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome, because that's a whole nother strand of making appointments right there. If you think about it, when you're calling officially and they're like, well, I can't really do it on the internet, but they really don't know exactly what they're doing yet. It's the thought of the unknown. Okay, well, let me send my, medical underwriter out there. Let me send my, whomever. And then now you've got an appointment. You know what I mean? You almost want to do that in appointment setting. I mean, that's incredible. Really.
I did forget one thing, guys. That's important, is getting the prescription medications ahead of time. So before I jump off the phone, I'm like, okay, Albert, so just so I can prepare for our call tomorrow, or just so I can prepare for our appointment tomorrow, what prescription medications are you taking? Because I'm going to run a few scenarios for you. So I would get all that ahead of time. So then when I do jump on with them, I usually have 2 illustrations prepared, one for term, one for, CBO or whatever it is. Americo, I never used their illustrations ever until recently because I use the IULE a lot, and that's a really good tool to show people because they have something to see. But I'm like, okay, if it's virtual, they like that to be able to see something. So you can run the illustrations through Americo, and it'll actually show how much money they're getting back in 25 years, 30 years, whatever it is, and they see it there. And you can just show them 2 options, which one's better for you.
Plus, obviously, there's the digital whiteboard thing you can write on for Zoom. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do. So put a little bit of thought into it.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah,
with it.
prepare too.
Yeah.
Prepare.
Right. So Trisha, you've been doing all face to face up to this point, right?
Yes, I came from a prior captive that was adamant not only on face to face, but we were not trained to make appointments at all. So it was a door knocking 100% of the time, and you were actually shunned if you took any time to make appointments. I kind of were like, why would you do that? You should. So this is like the polar opposite, which is so cool because there is no restriction. Like you can do this anyway, anyhow. I mean, like there's no reason to miss out. He made a comment that I loved earlier, and he said, it's not only good for your credibility, but it's good for your soul. That was so powerful for some of us that have left somewhere and it was not good for our soul. And, looking back, how things were done or whatever, I'm not being negative at all. I'm just pointing out some obvious things. He was correct. The people that typically complain about this have never worked anywhere else. Because if you have worked somewhere else, then you see not even what the opportunity, like it's a life blessing. It's a total different avenue that I think that we're honestly like divinely favored to even get. I think the people that stay in this actually are favored to do it, and the people that fall off were never meant to.
Wow.
Well, if you're willing to push through that adversity, you give yourself an opportunity. Because the thing is, it's never linear. I think too many people look at it from a myopic viewpoint. They expect, I do this is the result I'm going to get. And the thing is, the reality is, if you do it long enough, that probably will be the result you're going to get, but it's not going to go as smoothly as you believe. So I think for those that push through it, like you're talking about, you will put yourself in a position to receive all these blessings.
Yeah. I'm not a big like karma person, but I think like even in that old company, I knew, I knew I wasn't going to be there forever just because of how it was structured. I was like, this is messy. I'm going to get out of this. But like, I knew even though it was like so hard that like I was developing calluses, I was developing my grit, I was developing my persistence, I was developing these characteristics that I knew I could apply anywhere. I was developing sales skills. I was developing being able to take rejection, going under stress, like all of these different skills because it was hard. Like I'm not going to shy away. Like if I shy away from something that's hard, I'm going to do that anywhere, so we have to look at it macro.
When Albert posts things at the hierarchy he is now, and you put things out there like, guys, I went through my first year where I had overdrafts or I was borrowing to buy leads and all the struggles that happens. I revert back to the first Saturday morning. I listened to a question and answer with Sean Mike, and somebody asked him arbitrarily, like, what is the one thing that you would take back or you regret when you first got into? He said, well, I brought a lot of people over, but I didn't tell them that it was going to be hard in the beginning. I just painted a picture like this is a better scenario. And so they really didn't think they had to work as hard. And he said, so I had a lot of good people that lost faith quick. And that hit me so hard because I thought going forward, like I've got to tell these people it is not about anything other than how many times you can get punched in the face and how many times can you get through that, because it's going to be hard. Like it's a simple platform, it's a simple vernacular, but the activity can be so hard for folks and they just give up. And I think that's the thing going forward is we're really blessed to have that transparency from all of us. We all talk about our struggles and we're reminded that in the beginning, it's not going to be handed to us. And I think that has been a big deal for me really in the last 30 days.
Well, I think that's a great point. I think a lot of times when I first started, it wasn't the same way. I used to try to tell people how easy it is. or how anyone can do it, which I believe anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to do it, and not everyone will do it.
Yeah.
You know, so the thing is, when I first started, it was always a matter of trying to tell people how easy it was, and you know how it's doable. But now I'm getting to the point where I want people to know it's not always going to be easy. I think it's simple. It's very simple, so everyone can get it. But the thing is not always going to be easy because number one, life isn't that way. And if you're running a business, if you're growing a business, it's not going to be easy all the time. So anyone that told you it's going to be easy all the time and you're not going to face any resistance, they're lying to you. Okay. So like you won't hear that from me because I don't believe that at all. But I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely that's something that's simple that if you just dig in, focus on what's really important, like ignore all the stuff, all the stuff that the challenges that you hit, the times when you're down, put that to the side. Just understand it's all part of the process. Accept it for what it is, learn from it, and just keep focusing on the things that you're grateful for. If you can do that, you'll get to where you want to get to because your focus will continue to stick on what's truly important to you. And that's different for all of us, whatever that may be. So whatever you come into this business for, focus on that thing, stay grateful for the things that are good, and for the stuff that are bad, deal with it, accept it. It's not going to completely go away. It's still going to continue to be there. That's all part of our journey. So yeah. So Trisha, what I actually wanted to have you on because you got something really exciting coming up October 28th. So tell us about that.
So I'm super excited and blessed with all my legions of angels that I have right now, and we're building that army. I just decided success was not going to come and get me, and I would have to go get it. And so I started a lease on a new office.
Ooh.
Yes. My husband and I went and signed paperwork, and we're going to have a grand opening at the end of next month. And I went to the hills with it. I have a young lady doing the marketing and social media and built a platform. I mean, everything you're supposed to do. I went ahead and just dove in the pool. And
Love it.
I think I'm so in love right now. Like, this is like my new baby. I was preparing to tell you like what my major, like what this has did to affect my life, right? Just this particular decision. And I know it hasn't just affected me, like the credibility of having a touch point where you become official, like you have a physical place that you can say, this is our office for our group. You can interview folks here. You can call here, you can make appointments here. It's at your disposal, and it's visual, and they're a part of something now. So even like the agents are excited about hiring people, you know what I mean? Like there's been a shift in the atmosphere from when you're kind of like out in the field and you're doing okay, you know, to, okay, I just had this baby. Like this is my new project. And there's no turning back with that. It's like the real investment and commitment. And so it has made me overjoyed. Even my family, I have people in my family that are going to help and work, and hired an assistant, and my kids are excited about it. And I would tell anybody that's even on the fence, like if this is going to be your life, you know what I mean? Like this, and I can't imagine what anybody else would do in their life, by the way. Like what else would you possibly do besides this? What could be better? I would tell you, like, do it. Like, go find whatever fits you, whatever, you know, your budget now may not be your budget later. You know what I mean? But hang your hat somewhere. You know, like you hung your hat on FFL. I'm very, very excited and proud of that. But I needed to have an identity within it. And I have that now. You know what I mean? And now it's like, it kind of, you know, puts you on the money. Like, I have to have my badge now. I have to do certain things where it's not just about me, it's about a whole unit of people. And I want them all to win so much and feel like winners. And I want people to see what we're doing and want to specifically come to work with me and my agency. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to come to work with me, not just because we give the best contracts. And like, I want them to be a part of my environment and actually want that, you know what I mean? Be a part of a community or the League of Angels that I'm building. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful. But anybody who's considering it, I would just tell you to do it.
That's dope.
Yeah, well, you definitely have a vision for it. So the thing is, talking about ownership, you know, we actually have another office that they just recently opened up in St. Louis. So
I do.
that's Corey Williams' office, and we actually the first time I flew out there to go meet with you. The inclement weather that you spoke of earlier, there was icy roads, and you got in an accident. We didn't get a chance to meet up physically. We had to get on a Zoom call. I mean, all this is kind of tying in together, but.
Wow.
But with Corey's office, I mean, I saw the pictures. It looks really nice, and you knew about the office, and you could have easily just said, "Okay, we're just going to go plug in there in the meantime and just go the cheaper route." But no, you decided, and even before you signed the lease for this office, you told me your vision.
Yeah, from the jump.
From the jump.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad because I'm so competitive. And I actually met Corey and Dave Witchard came. He is a super nice guy. We actually don't live that far away from each other. And he asked me to partner in that before, well, he didn't even know a property yet. He was looking for one. And I had the opportunity, and I just kind of sat back, and before I even did anything, I mean, like honestly, this is like within a week of even deciding to leave and come over, I had my mind made up. I'm like, no, I want to do this on my own. I want to build, not to discourage partnership, that's great too, but just for myself, I wanted to do this all the way. Kind of, I already knew what I wanted, and I didn't want to deviate at all, you know. And yeah, I saw the opening. I saw it on Facebook, and I know what area he's in, and that's not anywhere near me, and that's great. And he's a super nice guy, you know what I mean? But we're the Angels, so what are you gonna do? You know,
gotta build your own haven, right?
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I could totally relate, because I think when we started here, there was maybe like 3 total FFL offices. Like it was somewhere less than 5.
Yeah.
And so then like when we started, some people were like, "Oh, that sucks. We don't have an office here." And I've never looked at it as a problem. I'm like, cool, I'm going to open one.
Yeah.
And like I really took a lot of pride in that. And within my first year, opened an office out here, and we're just looking to continue to expand and grow and get more people in position like you, Trisha. So you're a blessing to all the people in that area.
And I kept it black and gold because those are like my favorite anyway. So it's a very matchy.
That's right. I'll take matchy. All right. So if people want to come to your grand opening and come learn more about business, where can they find you? What's the date? What's the information? What do they got to do? What do they have to have?
Sure. So I'll post it on GroupMe after the call. But our building is located on 1000 Lake St. Louis Boulevard. We are Suite 217, and that is in Lake St. Louis, Missouri, 63367. It's right off the main drag there off the highway. I'll put a picture in there as well. My grand opening is going to be from 9 a.m. until 4. From 9 until about 11:30, we're going to just meet and greet, and I have some goodies to give the agents, and everybody get to love and meet on Albert and see Darren. And then we're going to go out to lunch for some hibachi down the street. And then we're going to come back and do some phone training and some just, a fellowship later in the day. So that's basically
I love
the whole
the itinerary already.
Good. So let's get going out there.
Let's do it.
We'll go enjoy that event all together. So anything else you wanted to share with the people of the group before we end this thing?
I just, I get up in the morning and I was at a family reunion a week ago, and I recruited the guy that is the manager out there actually. And because they were having veteran events once a month, and it's kind of a CCW I just was like, dude, would you let me come out here and do like an educational seminar and sell some insurance possibly? And he's like, yes. We talked like for 20, 30 minutes. And by the time I was done, he's like, Trish, he's like, I've known you for a long time. I've never seen you excited about anything like this. And I said, yeah, I got to tell you, like, I know I'm at a family reunion, but I probably would rather be out in the field. And he says, you got me excited about it. So before you know it, like, I've sent him to join FFL Elite while I'm sitting there. Sent him the Excel scholarship page. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to get licensed. I said, because you don't even have to leave. You can do it part-time. And he was like, I can totally see this, because he's got all these veterans and ex-police officers. It's perfect for, a little bit of term left or a lot of final expense or whatever. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll come out with my husband once a month, because it's about 90 people in a class that can sit there. And there is nothing where you can sit somewhere with somebody and you're just real, and you're sparkling, because this opportunity God has gave us is overwhelming at times. You know what I mean? I told my husband that, I said, I think some people actually fail or get out of this because they don't believe they're worth this, because it is just, I think it blows some people's minds that they could actually steward, serve, make this type of livelihood, have the flexibility, just all the positives that go into it. But I would just tell everybody that's out there, I recruited a lady at the Going Postal yesterday. Like, exposure. Like, I think our first job before anything is to just tell people about this, because I'm not doing anything special, but just talking like I'm talking to you guys right now, when anybody that I've talked to about this opportunity. And people feel legitimacy and they feel passion. And when you believe in what you're doing and you really love it, it's a magnet for folks. So I would just tell you, just expose yourself all the time. And I know that's how it's going to be my growth. I know it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us today,
I just want to
Trisha.
say one thing. You're definitely going to be an up and coming board member, and you're just a boss, but you're
right.
super, super genuine. And like, there's a lot of things you said that actually like slowed me down. I'm a really fast person. Like, I process things and, on to the next, but there's a lot of things you said that really slowed me down, and how just grateful you are and what you exude. You're going to attract the right people. And so it's amazing to hear from you today.
And you're
Thank
very
you.
you're very sorry, you're very charming over the phone. I've talked to you on the phone. I don't know why you're like questioning your ability to convey your personality over the phone. I think
You're
you're
gonna make me
gonna be more than okay.
You guys are trailblazers. I'm just, you want to be on a team of winners. I would hope all people think like that. But, even like when my children, you know what I mean? I'm like, even if the people aren't around you doing it, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you go and do it. But then to have like a whole family, like a whole group of you guys, where the mindset is like, you genuinely want everybody to win. And I know that's why we're going to be so successful, because our hearts are in the right place. Like, I just very, very just, it's surreal almost.
Yep. I agree. We're not gonna be perfect. We shouldn't expect to be. We'll make our mistakes, but if we genuinely care about our people, helping people succeed, helping people, putting them in the best position for them to succeed, and then just figuring this thing out together, I mean, we can't be stopped. So thank you, Trisha. And then any last bits of advice you guys want to share with anyone out there? No?
Watch out for me. I'm coming.
Watch out for Yoel. He's coming for you. And then thank you, Brittany, for sharing all your great knowledge.
Thanks for having me on.
All right.
Super honored.
And we'll see you guys next week, and then we'll see Trisha over in October 28th over in Lake St. Louis. Excited for your grand opening. So appreciate you guys getting on this week. We'll see you guys next week. Let's make it a productive week.